All right, Bulls and Bears, welcome. This is the euphoria before the shock. Euphoria before the shock. Now, looking back, we talked about what could possibly unfold in October, but I said not so fast. They'll likely try to keep the economy propped up and keep bad things from happening as much as possible. They were going to prevent that. And of course, they did. Now we're seeing a euphoria because a lot of optimism out there that the new incoming quote-unquote leader is going to change things, bring down the cost of living, make it better for businesses to operate with deregulation. Folks, do you really think that that's going to happen? Are you out buying stocks because of what happened last week with the nomination or with the selection? Folks, be very, very careful. There's a lot of euphoria right now in the markets, a lot of optimism, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with looking forward to better days. But folks, we have bubbles inflated all across the economy. The housing bubble, automobile still way too high, cost of living bubble. It's an everything bubble. We've heard that term, everything bubble, for years now because prices have been too high for a very long time. The only reason this economy keeps chugging along is because the ability for people to borrow money. In other words, the average person's getting further and further into debt. Otherwise, economic growth would stop, and this economy would be done, folks. It would be done. Well, let's get into some news today, folks. We got big gains in the market again today. I'm actually recording this on November 11th here, so you may be watching this on the 12th, kind of a late night video for me. Dow Jones up above 44,300. Bitcoin, though. Bitcoin, take a look at this, folks. As I'm reading this, Bitcoin, $87,500. XRP, 60 cents. My fraction of a Bitcoin that I own, guess I'm very happy about that. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at some other news today, folks. Inflation continues to punish people. They have to have new ways to keep these bubbles propped up. One of the things we talk about here quite often is the down payment assistance programs. Look at this, folks. More down payment assistance programs. Minnesota launched this down payment assistance program for first-time home buyers. Down payment resource highlights 49 home buyer assistance programs offering up to $117,000, folks. This news just came out in the past 24 hours. Right now, there's over 2,000 down payment assistance programs across the U.S. Some of them are just in certain cities. Others are statewide. Of course, we had Ms. Harris was out there talking about a nationwide down payment assistance program if she would have got into office because she knows that people can't afford homes without help, without assistance. They had to drop the down payment requirement. Long gone are the days of 20% down payment. Right after the 2008 housing bubble went bust, people thought the 20% down payment was going to come back because that would have been the sane thing to do. Just the opposite happened, folks. We got 0% down payment. Not only that, zero down, and you get a down payment assistance program, right? And you have investors still buying a lot of homes, folks, so they're doing everything they can to keep these bubbles inflated. Remember, the powers that be, they want higher prices. They don't want lower prices, right? And if there is lower prices, if some situation comes up, some panic event where markets go down, home prices go down, where banks freeze up, then guess what? A lot of billionaires are going to come in and buy a lot more homes, folks. That's the setup here, and that's what's going to continue to happen. So I'm keeping my kind of cash-heavy position here, still ready for things to pop off because I think things are eerily quiet. Now, I left off my last video saying that. What does eerily quiet mean? To me, it means something big is brewing beneath the surface or brewing in the background, being prepared in the background to be dropped onto the world here, onto the population. And remember, the too big to fail banks are still increasing credit limits, giving out more loans, not tightening their policies. There's only about 1 in 5 banks that are tightening right now. So we have another prediction of record holiday shopping coming up here, record spending again, and it's mostly going to be debt driven. I think this is going to be the biggest holiday or the biggest debt holiday where people run up the most debt. It's going to set a record. Of course, they won't put it like that when they put out the news. They're going to say it was the biggest holiday spending season ever. But the sub-headline should be, as consumers took on record amounts of holiday debt. They won't put that in there, but that's the true story about what we're going to see happen. Walmart coming out with Black Friday sales already, and Thanksgiving's still over 2 weeks away. What do we have at Walmart? We've got TVs. Look at this. Get yourself a 65-inch Samsung TV. $798. It's kind of high still. Here we go. 65-inch Samsung Crystal. $398. Okay, so the other one that I read, $698. This is $398 for a 65-inch TV, folks. There's going to be a lot of people swiping credit cards and buying these huge TVs. 65 inches. Wow. My house isn't even that big or big enough to need a 65-inch TV. I could fit it in the house, but our living room is not that far back. So I could see if I had a huge room where you're on maybe 30 feet away, that way you could see the TV 65 inches. But when I'm 5 feet away from the TV, I don't need a 65-inch TV. Nothing against people that are going out and buying these things, though. Laptops on sale, folks, computers. Get ready for the massive deals, massive debt accumulation, and they're going to put it out there that it's a record season, folks. So get ready for that. You're not going to be fooled. I'm not going to be fooled. We know what's going on with that. Banks are not tightening. Banks don't have to have any money in reserves. They can loan out. Somebody the other day told me that I was wrong, that they can't create trillions of dollars at the click of a mouse. Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me just give you an example. Remember the Inflation Act or the Inflation Reduction Act? The $1 trillion they threw at the problem, right? $1 trillion in spending in one package. You think someone was in the back room counting out $10 and $20 bills? Okay, here's $1 trillion to go spend it. No, folks, it's digital. If you don't understand that by now, I don't know how to help you. Maybe you're new to the channel. Maybe you're in third grade. Folks, most of the money in circulation is not actually money. It's just digits. Less than 10% of the money in circulation right now is physical, meaning coins and dollars. It's mostly digital. So people talking about the digital dollar, it's already here. All right, the central bank digital currency is already here. And it's not just the central bank. It's your Bank of America, Wells Fargo, your credit union. You get a loan, it's not actually money, folks. It's digits on a screen. Do you understand yet? All right, so as long as the system stays in place, they can keep the bubbles propped up as long as they want to. At the click of a mouse, they can rescue the markets. They can hand out mortgages. They can hand out loans. Allow people to swipe credit cards, folks. The debt no longer matters. $36 trillion national debt. Add a zero. It might as well be 360. Add 2 or 3 zeros. It might be $360 trillion. It still doesn't matter because it's all propped up on more digits that can be just thrown into the economy, folks. Well, actually, I should be clear. It does matter when it comes to inflation. More rising prices, higher cost of living overall. You're going to see some corrections here and there. Autos, homes in some areas. But, folks, most of all, they want to keep this bubble propped up and keep it getting bigger. Otherwise, the illusion of economic growth gets collapsed. The economy then collapses. I think most of you probably know this. Happy Veterans Day to those watching today. And if you were watching the day after Veterans Day, happy Veterans Day. In-N-Out Burger giving out complimentary meals for Veterans Day. People say I don't have good news. There you go. At least somebody's helping out the veterans. In-N-Out Burger. Feds to probe a recall of a lot of vehicles, folks. This includes my vehicle. I'm upset at this. The feds, I almost said Ford. It's actually not Ford this time, the vehicles. Feds probing recall of 1.4 million Honda and Acura vehicles, folks. The Pilot from 2016 to 2020 and the Acura MDX recalls for engine failure, folks. That's mine. Mine fits in that range. Got a 2019 Honda Civic. So not good news for me. Seems like there's a lot more recalls lately. What happened to the quality manufacturing? And think about this. If they do bring manufacturing back to the United States, will it be quality or would it be a bunch of junk? I'm almost afraid with the population of the U.S. population, the bulk of the U.S. population being on some sort of pharmaceutical, some sort of drug, will they actually manufacture good vehicles or will robotics be the thing to do most of the manufacturing? Speaking of housing bubbles, folks, look at this. This is worldwide, but here's the latest one. Mexico goes all in on housing. 1 million new homes, 0 interest mortgage. Do you see what's happening yet, folks? It no longer matters the amount of debt people have. The mortgage debt, people can't pay it. That's all right. They'll just sell their house because home prices went up. Maybe they'll get some equity. And they'll just get a buyer with a down payment assistance or a 0% mortgage or both. Or both, folks. this is scary, folks. We need something big to come in and drop these markets. I don't really know exactly what it's going to be, but I do know that we're long overdue. And maybe we'll see in a couple months. You guys will be laughing at me because markets continue to go up, but I don't think so, folks. I don't think we're going to get very much further. No one knows exactly what's going to happen and when. No one has a timeline, but I think a lot of you feel the same as me, that you are feeling that we're very overdue for something big to come in here and change things up. There's a lot of things brewing behind the scenes. There's a lot of, I think, shocking news and information that's going to come out that involves a lot of well-known people. I'll leave it at that. Okay, both in the business world, entertainment world, etc. Right? I'm going to leave it at that, folks. Stay on your toes. Keep stacking. Silver's still the number one thing I continue to stack here. Defensive mode for me. What do you think about the news today, folks? 0 down payment mortgages in Mexico. Record holiday spending predicted, with record holiday debt providing that or enabling that, right? Anyways, a little bit of a shorter one today. Make sure you subscribe, folks. We're going to have a lot of news coming up this week. Have a good day, everybody. Big love and peace.